Well, unless you built the AI to replace something you were already doing, then that's an instance where you can drop it because the AI took over. But if the AI is doing something new, let it do something new.
Welcome, everybody. I've got another one for you along the lines of what you need to hear for this business, because AI is changing a lot of how we're used to working. And now, just from last week, just from the last 5 days, Casey, 5 days, okay? We had one person that works with us closely say, Tristan, all of a sudden, we tweaked a few things over the last 30 days. In the last 5 days, I've gotten 2 people that want to buy
Love that.
just
Love
from our blog. And I'm like, dude, I feel like I'm in 2006, 2007.
I know. And it's like you don't want to think that you can go abandon the stuff that worked a year ago or 2 years ago. You still have to do all that same stuff. And to me, this is in addition to the business that people are doing, right? And I call that out because sometimes someone's like, well, does that mean I can drop something else? It's like, then that's an instance where you can drop it because the AI took over. But if the AI is doing something new, let it do something new, right? Those are the extra 2 deals, that people just scratch for every couple months. And like, this is to build on top of the business you've already got going.
Very true. I want to show something really quick before we get into it. And I guess I'll do it live. Hold on. Let me share screen. We're going to go to just a brand new tab. We're going to type in most visited websites in the US. We're going to go to SEMrush. Scroll down. Can you still see my screen?
Yep, we got you.
All right. So check this out, man. This is the US, okay? Google, YouTube, Reddit, Facebook, Skip, Amazon, Yahoo, Instagram, Wiki, and ChatGPT.
Yep.
So we look at that. That's, to me, it's pretty nuts, man.
It is. I have a stat too that I want to jump into in a second as we talk about like building sites for ChatGPT around just like where the ball is going, and even stats from when we talked a week or two ago. I dug more into and like kind of found out even more of this picture about how, agents out there need to be embracing where their buyers and sellers are, right? Because AI has 2 sides of it. It's not just using tools to make things more efficient in your business, but it's thinking about how your buyers and sellers are using those tools so you can be found, which is what we're going to jump into today.
Dude, last thing, because I didn't know this until right now. Most visited websites in the world.
What do we got?
Gemini is number 12 now. Did you know that? I had no idea.
No, I didn't. No.
That's crazier.
Yeah.
Because I was, I kind of put off Gemini a little bit, even though I use it in there. But now we're going to be found not only on ChatGPT, but also Gemini, because we're in California, you're in Boston. You guys get a lot of international traffic, especially right now. But
I know our poor Scots, they left us.
But you got the Germans the other day, right? So
Germans. Yeah, sad for them. But we got our orange cones all over the city to remember them by. So I'll take a few pictures and share them in the group next time.
Right. So yeah, where do we start with ChatGPT, and I guess now throwing in Gemini or just AI? How do we structure this so that we can show up on these sites better?
Yeah, let me share this right quick. We'll jump into the deck. And the thing I want to start with as we share this is everything I'm about to tell you, Placester does, but this is stuff that you can do outside of Placester too, right? I don't want to pretend like we're the only company doing this. We check these boxes for you, but if you're out there saying, oh my God, I love my site, I don't want to hear a sales pitch, sit back, because you're going to take information away that you can use no matter what platform you're on. And I'll call the stuff out that if you're not sure if your provider does it, you can ask them, because they're kind of big checkbox items you got to have. So let's jump into this. If we could share the deck for everybody. All right. So I updated this slide from even last time we talked. I don't know if you saw this, but Zillow's share of agent discovery traffic, right? So this is how are agents being found through you and I, the buyers or sellers, going to look on Zillow, saw its first ever decline. And normally when they look at this kind of traffic, where does it go? It goes to Redfin, it goes to homes.com, right? These portal wars that we've heard about. This was the first time when they looked at over 8 million real estate searches that AI search tools was the big culprit. It wasn't another competitor, a traditional competitor eating their lunch. This was a whole different way that buyers are searching out there. And I want to call that out because Zillow sometimes feels like the boogeyman to everybody. Like we're so scared, but we don't really know how to attack them. And it's not that Zillow is going anywhere, but it's just a reminder that you can be found in the AI search tools and you don't have to pay for it. You don't need to be a featured agent on Zillow. You can do things to support yourself on Zillow to be found on AI search tools, which we'll talk about. But this is a shift, man. This is happening. This other one we touched upon last week, but this 67%, it's not just home buyers using AI in their search. This is starting their search using AI, right? This is like they're going to a place to begin the process. And remember, the process could be information about a market. It could be information about, hey, how does like fees work to my seller agent, right? It could be things like that. And it could be as down funnel as I need a 3-bedroom condo in the South End of Boston. Who's the best real estate agent to help me? So we just got to remember these are all different phases of the funnel that people are going to start searching in. But the one thing that doesn't matter about that funnel is where they're going. And that's with these AI search tools. And then there's the big one at the bottom to me, like this is the window is still open. And so this 91% of all real estate websites being straight up ignored. And they're ignored for a few big reasons, which we're going to talk about. One is behind the scenes, right? Their sites are not technically set up to talk to AI engines and say, hey, look, I'm a Boston real estate agent. I've got an expertise. Come find me. Okay, that's problem one. And then problem two is what the public sees, right? What kind of content is out there for people to consume? I don't want to lose sight of how much that's important. And it's not just the tech. Even though these are computers talking to each other, they still need to hear from you, the human, about creating great content. So we're going to jump into that as well.
I love that, man. And I love this slide, by the way. You're going to be updating this slide like every quarter.
I have to. I mean, I had to update it from almost 2 weeks ago. So I think if I wait a quarter, it's going to feel, it's going to have cobwebs all over it.
So true. That's very true.
Now, we talked about ChatGPT here. This is largely going to be the same for the other, big LLMs as well. So I don't want people to think, oh no, do I have to silo myself into only, trying to create a great site for ChatGPT, but what about Gemini? What about Claude? This is a Venn diagram that's almost entirely overlapped. And we talked about this last time too, Tristan. I didn't put a repeat slide up here, but the same goes for SEO, right? SEO is not forgotten about. It's not abandoned. And a lot of this that you're going to do is going to have a positive impact on your SEO as well. But I really wanted to draw everyone's attention to thinking about this specifically for ChatGPT and the LLMs because there is a different approach here. So let's start with behind the scenes. I'm sure people have heard versions of this, but your site briefing file and your structured data, these are going to be two essential, I'm going to call them foundational pieces of technology that your site has to have. And so if anybody's sitting there going, I wonder if my site is set up with existing pages and new pages to support this structure, take a second, go find in your inbox, whoever your email provider is, and send their support an email asking them about these two things. Because if you don't want to be, let's go back here, if you don't want to be in this 91%, then you got to make sure these two things are happening, right? They got to be happening behind the scenes and they got to be happening moving forward. So just a reminder, Placester does this. Tristan, we talked about this a few months ago as we were building it out. Every page that we create for our agents during our AI setup, we check this box. Every page that a customer creates, any kind of custom content, we handle this for them as well. And we're going to spend the back half of this talking about Placer's new content automation And this is all checked as well, right? The technology side of this is being handled on all of our customers' behalf. So that's box number one.
I think there's one other piece to this that is obvious if you've been with Placester for a while, but not so obvious if you're not. And that's if you go back to the previous screen, when
Yeah.
you're looking at the .text file and the JSON files, dude, what else is next that we don't know that you guys are going to shift for us automatically? Like
Dude, great
that's the
point.
part that I'm concerned about, because this changes so fast. Dude, in a year, there's something going to be there that I don't know now, and you guys are going to take care of it.
That's what
And
you pay
now
us for.
it works.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really funny. We do a lot of email marketing out to our existing clientele, and we try to be like these webinars, right? We try to give information that's actually going to help somebody grow their business. And we wrote this really great piece about topics that people should be considering to write about on their site. And the amount of emails that we got back that said, but oh no, what about the JSON-LD? What about the text files? And we had this weird moment of like, oh, we just did that automatically. And we probably should have told everybody, like, we got you, like, we got your back. We just assumed that that's table stakes because we want to take care of our clients, right? We want to make sure we're staying competitive. And to your point, like, this changes so often. We do this stuff behind the scenes. We think about it. I mean, you probably get text the way that I do from our CEO, Matt, at weird hours because he's got an idea or something happened that he wants to make sure gets into the product. And this stuff is living, it's breathing. We took this endeavor on over 6 months ago, and we didn't do a lot of fanfare around it because we felt like, well, everybody's doing this. But, you know, I do a lot of competitor research, and unfortunately, it's not happening everywhere, right? It's why that 91% exists, because this isn't going on automatically places. So I urge everybody, check with your provider. If you don't love the answer your provider gave you, give us a call. We'll talk to you about how we handle this for everybody. And to Tristan's point, whatever that next change is, a week, 6 weeks, 6 months from now, we'll make sure we've gotten that taken care of for you too.
That's why I love doing these with you too, dude.
If anybody hasn't seen this, I love this. This is my, like, just little reminder. Everything you put on your real estate site is going to be what informs this site briefing file and this structured data. So there are best practices that are going on in the industry, both for real estate and outside of real estate. We don't have to look at all the ones and zeros here, but I want to remind people, like, Placer's not inventing something new and taking a gamble on whether or not it's going to work. We're watching insane patterns that are emerging right around the country, around the world, for how companies in our industry, outside of our industry, are being found. And we're just going to apply those best practices just now and forever to the sites. So that's behind the scenes. All right. What about out in public? And out in public might not be the right word. I think public in the internet public space, if you will. But first is consistency around the web. And we're going to talk about that one in a second. We did a webinar on this a few months ago, and my marketing team loved it because it was just kind of a reminder of how much your site should be kind of the central point for your business out to the web, which we'll talk about. But you got to have the same bio everywhere, right? You got to look the same everywhere. And we'll get into that. But that's kind of thing number one that I want to make sure everybody does on their site. And then the second we'll talk about is the actual content, the content that's not your pillar pieces that are there forever, like your bio, but these are things that change daily, weekly, monthly, right? These are thinking about what's going on in the market that you want to make sure you're really talking to. That's going to be the other big category that ChatGPT will want to make sure it sees on your site. So we'll jump into both of those. Okay. Remember, you can do all this with Placester, but you should be able to do this with a lot of sites out there. And if you're not doing this, like, get on these 5. I had a list of 15 and I whittled it down to 5 because,
dude,
you know, we've only got a little bit of time here.
Well, listen, I want to see the 15 eventually too.
I'll drop the 15 in the chat. I'll drop them in. Bios, right? We did this, I think maybe when we did that first webinar, Tristan, like, we did a search on agents in your area. We did a search on you.
Yeah, I
And one
remember
thing
that.
that was right, like your bio popped up as a source in like 4 different places. I think it was like homes.com, Zillow, your site, somewhere else. And it's all the same. It's got a consistency of telling the internet, this is who I am. This is what I do. And so you're probably right. You're not going to change your bio every couple of weeks, but like update it quarterly, update it every 6 months, at least update it every year, right? Your number of transactions have changed.
You know
Yeah,
what you
go ahead.
could probably do on this that I didn't think about before, or maybe we talked about this. When you're looking at your bios from different sites, you could also just ask ChatGPT, since we're talking about ChatGPT,
Yeah,
hey, where are my bios not the same so I can go and fix them?
I love that. I love that. ChatGPT is a great one for that. Anybody that's using Claude in their browser, like same thing.
Yeah.
And like, don't be scared to go search your competition. I mean, if I'm in your market, Tristan, like not in a bad way, but I'm going to look at every single thing you're doing and I'm going to find what is his pattern, right? And then use ChatGPT to ask about what are Tristan's patterns that I should be following, because I'm looking at somebody out there crushing it. I want to emulate the same thing. Okay, good news is the playbook's likely already been written by somebody else in your market. You
Yeah.
don't have to rip them off, but go take that best practice and apply it to your own business, right? Read about how people are pinning themselves up as, you know, their Zillow profiles or testimonial trees, whatever it might be. Okay. Next is visual branding. This one's insanely important because we as human creatures, right? We lose our interest so often that reading a really long form piece of content, that's not going to happen every time, right? Or going and investigating around deep into your site to find a link, that's not really going to happen, right? We want speed is one thing, number one, and we're visual. So getting to your site and seeing a consistent pattern across your site, your Facebook, your Instagram. If I get a business card from you or I go to an event that you hosted in my community, I'm expecting the same visual branding everywhere, right? Love them or hate them. When you go to a KW event, that red, it's like burned
It's
into your
everywhere.
eyes the rest of the day. You just, you know it.
Yeah,
And it's by design. They do a great
true.
job of that. Everybody should apply this to their entire branding.
I
If you
agree,
don't
man.
have this, I don't know if anybody out there is using like Cowork, but go to Claude Cowork, go to ChatGPT, take what you already have and make sure that you're getting advice from them on where else it needs to be updated. And if you've got any missing gaps, like, do you remember things like logo creation? People used to pay like thousands of dollars to have a logo designed. You know how many website setups I used to do personally? I'd get on
How
the phone with
many?
somebody. They'd be so excited, like, I want my website. I need it. And then guess what would stop them? I haven't
What?
picked out my colors. I haven't got my logo. I'm
What?
waiting. It could have happened, right? Because back in the day, what did you do? You waited around for someone to respond to your email or pick up
Dude,
your
that's
phone
so
call,
true.
right? You've been there before.
I'm so impatient now. I'm like, Claude, do it.
Oh, it's wild. I don't get it. I was looking for icons for one of these, and I was getting a bunch of like paywalls online. I was like, wait, why am I asking the regular Google search? I'm gonna go to Claude and ask it to build an icon for me. So I got
That's
a
so
fun one
funny.
actually that I'm gonna show in a second. So I'm glad you brought that up. But go do that. It's out there to be right at your fingertips now. There's no more excuses of like, I got to go pay somebody 10 grand to go on a spirit journey to figure out what my branding should be. Okay, your target market. Target market is not necessarily like I cover all of Boston. I live here in Boston. I know that everybody cares about neighborhoods. We don't care about zip codes. We don't care about school districts because we're in a lottery system, right? We talk about neighborhoods. We talk about access to MBTA. And so you have to remember you are the expert in your market. Whether you've been there for 2 weeks or you've been there your entire life, your job is to have conversations with people.
Mhm.
Think about the way that they explain where they live, right? Are there things about the town? Like we helped somebody build a website. This is going back like 2 months ago. And in their town, they call it a founder statue. And it's just like old school, like statue of their founder. And everything they talked about was founder north or founder south. And all that meant was you live north of where the statue was or south of where the statue was. And that was a huge deal. Like high schools were divided around it. And so we literally helped them build a website that had their first 2 call to actions for the target market was founder north and founder south, which to me and you would be like, what the hell are they talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Anybody that lives there, right? They're all doing local. They're like, oh my gosh, this guy gets it. He talks the way that we talk. So don't be scared to lean in that way, even if it feels different than the search options that you might see on Zillow or Redfin. Like that is okay. Unique expertise, right? Everybody has a little bit of flair. It should be in your bio, but if there's something that you love to help with, you know, you love doing credit repair with people who need it because you were there at one point in your life, or you love to help people buy vacation homes because you and your spouse lived out your dream and got to it. Whatever it is, talk about that. People resonate with the story. Tell your story through your specialties and that expertise. And then reviews and testimonials. I cannot tell you how many times I've sat in a room with somebody and talked about their business. I go, hey, I'm not really seeing any reviews. There's no testimonials.
Yep.
Are people not replying to you? And you know what they say?
What?
I never asked. What? Like that's your gold right there. And people get nervous to make this ask like, well, they already worked with me. I don't want to be rude or impose and use up their time. If you provided a great service, they're going to want to help you, right? They're going to want to talk about what you did for them. So do not forget to ask about this, number one. But number two, have it on your website in a way that links back, whether it's your Zillow reviews that are being hosted on your site or Google, they can all aggregate to one place on your site. And then people can always click out to those third parties if they want to see it directly from the source. So this is my 5. Anything you think we need to add, Tristan, before I go on?
Dude, I snapshotted this and I just put this into my personal profile on Facebook and I put it on Lab Coat Agents and I just broke down this because you actually did a very good job. And I don't know what the 15 were, but it felt like you were quite concise and on point with these 5.
Cool. Glad to hear you say that. We are thinking about this all the time. Like we really just want to help people get this out the door, because if you don't have this set up correctly, it just makes it so much more difficult. Number one, to be found by the search engines, both AEO and SEO. But number two, it makes it really hard for your consumer to feel like they've gotten to know you well enough to click that button that says like, I'm going to submit my information, or they got your name, they got your number already. They're just going to validate you. Do you give them something there for them to go, yeah, this was good. I really want to make sure I work with this person. So cool.
What if you were going to add one more, because you had 15?
Yeah.
What would the 6th one be?
Okay. There's this weird debate about, and I talked to agents about this, about displaying past sales, right? Talking about your solds. And there are some coaches that say, oh, you don't promote that. That's not a thing. I love when I go to a website and I see sold listings that are in my area. And that to me is a different way to lean into number 3, is to talk about your target market. But if you've got the experience and you've sold there, I love to see a sold home down the road from me going, oh shit, like she sold that house. My neighbor never told me who they listed with. Right? Like I love that.
That's good, because even when I go to ChatGPT, if we've put that out there, it brings those data points from that agent. They've sold this, this, and this, and this. I'm like, oh, so dude, that's big, actually.
It's huge. It's huge. That'd be my number 6. It shows credibility that you know the area. It shows credibility that you've helped somebody before and they've trusted you with this process. So I think it checks a lot of boxes if you want my low key number 6.
I agree with that a lot.
Good.
That could have been tied for number 5, dude.
I'll be going back to amend my deck for next time.
Tied for 5.
Yeah. All right. So here's what my marketing team doesn't get paid for. It is to create really dumb images of Pac-Man gobbling up.
That's funny.
This was a one prompt into Claude. So I hope everybody,
not bad. For the first one, not bad.
Right. For the first shot. All right, let's talk about the content side. So Placester just launched this. We just launched this new content automation, and we're pumped about it because we believe in helping our agents grow their business and our brokers grow their business, but it's not always clear how you take the website, you put a lot of work in, and then your business grows. And we
Mhm.
feel like this is the first bridge that we've laid down over that gap. We specifically designed this content to help our agents get found through AEO and AIO, right? We want people to use this content engine, yes, to engage with their current sphere. That's extremely important. But we also want them to be able to get their name out there, right? That
Yeah.
9%, right? 91 minus or 109 minus 91, that 9%, we want Placer's customer base to make up the biggest majority of that 9% that's being found through AEO and AIO. That is like
Yeah.
our goal right now. Um, Again, we didn't make this stuff up. These are content categories, and we'll kind of get into it, where we looked at what's been going on in the industry, right? We looked at top performers. We talked to top performers. We looked at the subject matter. We talked to you, Tristan, about what do you see work? What do you get excited about? And we try to blend together the qualitative, like what do people love about their own postings, and the quantitative, like what gets clicks, what gets people to actually scroll and read the article, and then what gets them to ultimately either sign up, right, to keep getting the newsletter or keep getting the content or fill out a lead capture form. That's kind of
Yes.
strategy one. And then for existing clients, right, you've got your own sphere. So creating content for your own sphere also has to be valuable and engaging to them, because everybody's sphere, if you shook out your CRM and you had 100 leads in there, hopefully there's more, but if you had 100, you might have one or two that are actually actively looking, like they're qualified. They're like, Tristan, take me to the next open home, please. I'm ready. And those are the
Yes.
ones that are usually emailing you being like, this thing just popped up. Can we go see it? And you're like, because right, that's all they're thinking about. But then you got the other 98, right? There are people that are like, I don't know, like renting or buying, was this the year for me? Or yeah,
Mhm.
Tristan was cool, but like I only met him for a minute. What's he really about? So having these categories, make sure that they provide value to all those different parts of the funnel, is going to be huge. And so that last one, that, new people, existing, we want to make sure it really checks both of those boxes. So we're
I
excited.
I like that, man. For me, it's very reminiscent of organic social media, opportunities that we get, leads, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They function in the same way. They know you, they feel comfortable with you, they're reaching out to just work with you.
Hmm.
So, that's why I love this for us. They're working hand in hand, and so
Yeah.
now we have another avenue to get business from, and that's through this.
We're pumped to
Pretty
hear it.
big.
And it is like they do get to know you. It's different than, hey, I searched for a thing, I saw an ad, and I'm looking for instant dopamine for someone to call me right back. That's a whole other thing. But building that trust and value over time through something like organic, I mean, it's a different practice. It's a different style of lead. It's a different approach as a salesperson. I mean, I'm glad you call that out and you see it in your own business. All right, I'm going to tab over here really quick. So, couple
Shoot.
things, we talked about this, but using your bio, using your specialties, your areas, like this is what we're doing to start to build a profile for all of our customers. Because, like we said before, we want to make sure the content is relevant to all of those other categories that also live somewhere on your site. So, we're going to build this up and build conviction around who you are. Do we have the right areas that we cover? This is then all of the different content topics. I'm not going to go into all of them, but you're going to see some of the big obvious ones. And what's great is as you're selecting the different content topics you want, you can always change this. You can always update your profile, but you can then start to see sample topics if you want. So you'll make sure, right? So I'll walk through Beacon Hill's historic streets and shops.
Mhm.
Beacon Hill is extremely historic. If that did not say Beacon Hill and it had a different neighborhood, that might scare the hell out of me, right? Seaport. If it said Seaport's historic, I'd say, Seaport is not historic. It is shiny new glass. So making sure that at least at a bird's eye view, these are categories that you want that match your area. You can
Okay.
always go in here. You can edit this, which I recommend that people do. Just add a little more of your voice to it.
Okay.
You can set your schedule, right? So you can do this daily, you can do it weekly, you can do it monthly, but you choose when this content's going out. And this is going to auto post directly to your blog. So it's
Okay.
going to have the blog post, right? This is kind of a quick one that just happened this morning.
So I don't have
We're
to
going to do
worry
all,
about you don't have to worry about posting daily.
you don't have to worry about posting daily at all. All you have to worry about is going in and changing a few sentences if you decide you want to, or updating it a few weeks later if new information came out and you want to use as an update piece. Yeah.
I have a question. We have to log in to check people's comments that they leave on this, or no? How does that work? And are they allowed to leave comments on the blog?
They are allowed to leave comments. You can turn it on and off if you decide to. You can one-click post to social from here. We're releasing content syndication to Facebook business pages, Instagram, LinkedIn. That's kind of phase 2.
Hmm.
So we're going to try to make this as no-brainer for you to say, do I need to have fresh, relevant local content? It's like, yeah, you do. And now we can get this kind of first cut out there for you. We're also allowing people, and we're doing this inside too. If you want to add CTAs inside of the posts themselves, we can add CTAs to the posts. If you want to have lead capture forms that pop up after a certain number of blog views or time on the site. So all this is configurable alongside the blog. So again, you can think about your strategy. Is this predominantly to be found through AEO, on ChatGPT or Claude, Gemini? Is this for your existing user base and you're going to send out emails and social posts? So you want to be a little less aggressive, but all options will exist for you in the back end. So that way, you know where this content's being posted on your site, how frequently, and then having control over exactly how you want it to be used to grow your business. So we are super excited. I actually just turned it on for your account, Tristan, this morning. So I wanted to make sure you could see this first, get hyped about it, because I knew you're going to say,
I was going to ask.
Hey,
I was going to
try
ask
it?
Matt
Yeah.
tomorrow. That's funny.
So it's there for you. And that way, next time we talk, you'll get a chance to play around with it and, give us some real feedback on it.
All right. I still have to tweak a few things on my main website because here's my plan. So, because I've been going back and forth on this, and I think most agents go back and forth on this part. I cover such a wide area, right, for the team. So I'm thinking I'm going to just take some of your advice and I'm going to niche down. So we've got, and even through the wider area, I've got this area called Conejo Valley, which includes 5 adjacent, very small towns or cities.
Okay.
And here, I'm going to ask you a question. Would you rather, or what do you think is better? If I'm looking at this and saying, do I include the Conejo Valley as the main website, or do I just break it down and just go to one city? And remember, these are not big, like what's
I would do the Valley.
The Conejo Valley?
Yeah, I would do Conejo Valley. I would always start to get like with these engines in general, it's almost good to get a lay of the land that's kind of a middle cut where you don't want to be too hyper specific, where you're like going after a long tail keyword search, to use an old phrase, that's almost non-existent, but you also don't want to be like, homes for sale around LA, which is way too broad. So I think the Conejo Valley feels like it is the right middle ground to start with. That can always be tweaked down if you find you're not getting traffic enough.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Or if
I can
there's
niche down into the cities even more if I need to per the tab and in the blogs. Okay.
You could do both. And I mean, the best part would be have a little bit of information about all the different towns or cities and start to see which gets more traffic. And you're like, oh shit, like these two are actually kind of their own thing. We're getting a lot of traffic to 2 areas. The other one's not so much. You could always kind of click further that way too.
You know what's interesting, man? You're in Boston, right?
Yeah.
I'm in a town called specifically Newbury Park, and we have the largest pharmaceutical in the world here. You guys have massive pharmaceuticals, and believe it or not, we exchange people all the time to Boston.
Oh, that's so funny.
It's
Back
it's
and
funny.
forth. Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
the house I'm in right now, they had to move to Boston because they
That's where the
they
industries are,
got
right?
contracted.
That's swapping back and forth. That's so funny.
So I'm thinking like Newbury Park. See, I'm thinking ahead blogs. I know people that are living in Boston that have to move here.
Yep.
So I could even in the blog be like, hey, make one for people moving from Boston to Newbury Park and the other way around.
100%. And that goes back to you knowing your market, you know the demographic, you know like the conversations that are happening inside of the area. So being able to ask the content engine to do that on your behalf, I love that it's still your brainchild, right? That's putting the prompt in there, but then letting the AI actually do the heavy lifting for you.
Yeah. Dude, I like
Smart
this.
move.
I can't wait to play around with it. All right. So I'm going to do the Conejo Valley,
Great.
those 5 towns,
Yep.
but I think I'm going to start with Newbury Park and Thousand Oaks because of the pharmaceutical.
I think I'm excited to see what you produce with it.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, I'm excited. I hope everybody has a great 4th. Enjoy the little bit. It's always a weird holiday with people who aren't salaried, right? In this industry,
Yep.
where doesn't mean that
We're
you're off
still
just because the
working.
holiday. Yeah, yeah.
We're still
Which means
working,
inevitably
buddy.
I'm still working. So,
Yeah,
you know,
you are too.
full circle.
And I'm here, everybody. If you missed this, let me see if I can put this up there on a slide. You want to share my screen, please? What do we
Yeah.
got? There it is. I took a picture of this. I put this up on my personal one in Lab Coats too. Take a picture of this because he broke down the important things you need to be focused on. If you're not going to go to Placester and hire Placester to do this for you and have the automation in place, now see if you can do this on your own using ChatGPT or Claude and focus on these things for yourself. But I thought this was so important, man. I'm going to keep reiterating this at different talks that I do because you broke it down really well.
Happy to share, man. This is fun.
Thanks, everybody. Have an awesome day, Casey. You rock.
Thanks, everyone. See you, Tristan.